But delegates to the Chinese Communist Party, twice a decade National Congress, are gathering behind closed doors in Beijing to discuss a shakeup of China's leadership. The country's biggest political event in decades kicked off on Sunday with an opening address from President Xi Jinping. For more, we're joined by Patrick Fok in the Chinese capital. A very good morning to you, Patrick, from South Africa. What's the reaction been to that opening address by President Xi Jinping, where he promised that he will rejuvenate the nation and continue with the nationalistic vision of China?
Good morning, Sudha. Yeah, well, look, it's been widely described as being an unapologetic speech, which you really have to agree with when you look at all the achievements that he touted for the party. He talked about how China had successfully handled COVID-19, reigned in Hong Kong and prevented the unrest from continuing there, and also opposed Taiwan separatist forces. I mean, these are all things that China has come under a lot of criticism for various reasons. And also, it is worth noting as well that one political analyst described it as being a less expansive speech. Notably, this speech went on for about 2 hours. It was considerably shorter than the opening address he delivered 5 years ago, which went on for about 3.5 years. But that possibly indicates that there is going to be a continuity with this leadership. As we know, he is expected widely to stand for an unprecedented third term. And so when you talk about that great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation, this is also part and parcel of the justification for Xi Jinping staying on as China's leader.
But in the conversation, there was also talk about the risks that the Chinese nation is facing. And part of those are their constant clashes with the West.
Yeah, certainly geopolitical tensions are among the many issues that China is facing. But again, President Xi was unapologetic about that as well. And we talk about Taiwan, and that is a really key issue for the country. He talked about how the Taiwan issue can only be resolved by the Chinese people. So that was a call for foreign countries not to interfere in that issue. And importantly, on Taiwan as well, he said that China would never renounce the use of force on the self-ruled island, which was really a reiteration of the fact that China is absolutely determined to bring about reunification, as Beijing puts it. And we're more likely to see China maintain pressure on the island other than anything else right now.
How did the conversation of COVID-19 weave itself into this? China is said to be one of the few countries that are still implementing COVID-19 lockdowns.
Well, as you can imagine, this was something that was really closely looked at yesterday. People were looking out for any signs that there may be some sort of loosening up of COVID-19 restrictions, but there really wasn't any indication of that. And the fact that President Xi talked about how this was the right way for handling the pandemic suggests that nothing is going to change anytime soon either. There's been a sort of reaction from markets here in Asia, a sluggish start to the week, which indicates that investors certainly were disappointed by that. But, you know, so far we have not seen any sign that they're going to be moving away from the zero COVID policy, which is certainly heaping pressure on the economy. And that is one of the key challenges that the new leadership are going to be facing. And in fact, the IMF identified the slowdown in China as being one of the key challenges the global economy faces. And as the saying goes, when China sneezes, the world catches a cold.
Patrick, I have to let you go now, but just quickly a summation of what's expected to happen on day 2.
Well, look, throughout the rest of this week, delegates are going to be working behind closed doors, mainly to talk about the real focus of this gathering, which is the great leadership reshuffle. We're expecting some big changes, particularly to the Politburo Standing Committee, but as we've all said before, President Xi likely to stay on for a third term, so no change there. But the other personality changes could have big implications for the future direction of the country.
Patrick Fok coming to us there from Beijing. Of course, will continue to update us on events with the 20th Communist Party Congress currently underway.